I'm Ardekani, professor at Purdue University School of Mechanical Engineering, and my research focuses on fluid dynamics with applications in environment, health, energy, and biology. One of the areas we focus on is looking at suspension of particles and how mechanical properties and rheological properties of this suspension, like viscosity, yield stress, can be controlled by microscopic properties like chemical interactions between particles, roughness, and other parameters. This is relevant to biomass slurry. One of the challenges that industry faces is the transport of biomass slurries that is important for biofuel production. This is also relevant to deposition of electrode material for solar panels. We also look at flow through porous media, looking at different instability mechanisms from viscous fingering all the way to elastic instability, and how these different mechanisms can be used to control transport and dispersion within porous media. It has several applications from bioremediation, enhanced oil recovery and energy application, and even drug transport in tissue. We also look at microbes and how they interact with their surrounding environment. One of the reasons we are looking at this problem is that microbes are our first respondents in terms of bioremediation after oil spills, like in Deepwater Horizon oil spill, microbial blooms formed. And also millions of barrels of surfactants were dispersed. So what we look at is that how microbes interact with these oils and petroleum, and how surfactants modify these processes so that in the future spills, better decisions can be made. We also look at these microorganisms and particles in density stratification that often occurs in oceans and lakes. Density stratification happens more often because of climate change and leads to formation of plankton bloom. And these plankton phytoplanktons can be very important in terms of carbon cycle in the ocean because they consume CO2, and when they die, they sink to the bottom of the ocean. So it's a natural way of carbon sequestration. They also produce more than half of oxygen on Earth. So we look at the transport of microorganisms and particles in density stratified environments, and how their life and accumulation and activity can be affected because of the properties of their surrounding aquatic environments. We also look at microbes when they form biofilms, like bacteria. When they get close to surfaces, they produce what is called extracellular polymeric matrix to protect themselves from harsh environment, and they form biofilms, which is the main cause of infection in animal and humans. And that's when their resistance to antibiotics significantly increases. And we know that antibiotic resistance bacteria can be a big risk to human health. So we look at how mechanical or rheological properties of the fluid or extracellular polymeric matrix they produce affect their behavior and their transport. We also look at how flow affects their motion. This can be relevant in terms of biofilm formation, but also for biofilm removal, and as well as it can be relevant for other cells that move in the presence of flow. For example, external fertilization of marine organisms are happening in the presence of chaotic turbulent background flow in oceanic environments. On the other hand, even for mammalian fertilization, the sperm moves in female reproductive tract, which itself has some background flow present. So we look at how these affects motion and movement of sperm cells. At the end, I would like to acknowledge the role of those great undergraduate students, graduate students, and postdocs who have contributed to what we have accomplished over the past few years, as well as the funding agencies who have sponsored our research. I'm looking for graduate students and undergraduate researchers to join our group, those with excellent communication skills and past experiences and interest in either experimental research or computational research. On experimental side of research, we're looking for performing microfabrication, microfluidics, and or spectroscopy techniques. And on computational side, we are looking for computational fluid mechanics or coarse grain molecular dynamics.